studying the Fourier series. So essentially, we said Jean-Baptiste Joseph Fourier, he was studying the heat flow mechanism through ordinary materials, and he was in search of a proper solution to the heat equations that he had developed, and he found that these solutions can be in the form of a series of sine and cosine functions involving their harmonics. As I told you, harmonics are multiples and submultiples of the basic frequency. For example, if you take the note sa in our Carnatic music, if it is a frequency of, let us say, 144 Hz, then a frequency 288 Hz will be a harmonic. 288 plus 144 will be another harmonic. 288 by 2, 144 by 2 will be a subharmonic, like that. So he showed, by virtue of his studies on heat flow mechanisms, that any periodic function can be represented by a series of sine and cosine functions involving their harmonics. There are many applications to Fourier series in physics. We know in physics and mathematics, we expand a differentiable function in the form of a power series. We are familiar with the Maclaurin's and Taylor series, which are an infinite series of ascending powers of x. Using the Fourier series, the advantage over Maclaurin and Taylor series is that the Fourier series allows the functions to have a finite number of discontinuities in a given period. A large number of areas of physics are benefited by Fourier series because a large number of areas of physics and engineering can be mathematically described by differential equations. Heat flow, fluid mechanics, electromagnetic theory, optics, electronics, quantum mechanics, etc. are some such fields. Fourier series also helps in solving the linear differential equations in bounded regions. Essentially, Fourier series is a method of taking a signal or a function and deconstructing it into a series of sines and cosines. We are using, if you were to look at what are the applications, in domestic applications, you can analyze telephone and TV signals using Fourier series. Fourier series can also be beneficially applied to analyze what are known as musical instruments. For example, Professor C.V. Raman, the Nobel laureate, he studied the Indian percussion instruments, the tabla and the mridangam, and he showed that by analyzing the frequencies obtained, that they are very rich in harmonics, and thereby these instruments produce a better quality sound than the Western drums. Fourier series can also be used in image processing, distribution map, heat distribution mapping, analysis of interference and diffraction, and also in spectroscopy. These days, practically every area of spectroscopy has been served by Fourier series because to analyze the spectra, we make use of the Fourier transform. FTIR is one such field. Now, we come to some basics. Any periodic motion, we know, is a motion that repeats itself at regular intervals. For example, the Earth going around the Sun, the motion of a simple pendulum, the motion, the beatings of a human heart are some examples. Periodic functions can be clearly studied by simply representing them as mathematical functions which are also periodic. These functions are of the same period as the period of the bodies which are oscillating. They can be used to analyze periodic motions. Now, if it comes to any periodic function which repeats itself at regular intervals, we know simple examples are the sine and the cosine function. In trigonometry, we know sine and cosine repeat themselves at intervals of 2 pi. Tan function repeats itself at intervals of pi and so on. In general, if a periodic function, in general, if a function f of x is equal to f of x plus t for all x, where t is called the period, you say function fx is a periodic function. Similarly, if fx equals f of x plus or minus t also, it's a periodic function with a period t. Similarly, f of x plus 2t, f of x plus 3t, etc. You can go on up to f of x plus nt, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. The set of counting numbers. This means that the function will have the same value if you increase the argument by an integral multiple of the time period. Now, what is this integral multiple of the time period? If you look at the sine function or cosine, it has a period 2 pi. Sine 2x and cos 2x, periodic functions with a period pi. Similarly, sine nx and cos nx will be functions which have a period 2 pi by n. So these are some periodic functions. Now what do we want to do? We want to now see what are even and odd functions. Now what is an odd function? If a function f of x is given to us, defined in a certain interval, then if f of minus x is equal to f of x, the function is even. If f of minus x is equal to minus of fx, then the function is odd. Familiar examples are the cosine function and the sine function. Because cos of minus theta is equal to cos theta, cosine function is a even function. And since sine of minus theta is equal to minus sine theta, sine is a odd function. Similarly, we have, I will share this with you. I got some more examples. Functions such as f of x is equal to x square, x to the power of 4, x to the power of 6, etc. Cos x, cos 2x, etc. Cos x are all even functions. Whereas x, x cube, x to the power of 5, sin x, sin hyperbolic x, hyperbolic sin x are all odd functions. In general, you can also plot the graphs of these odd and even functions. In general, you find that if a particular pattern that you can draw or a graph of a particular function, if the graph of a particular function is symmetric about the y-axis, you find that the function will be even. And if the graph of the given function is symmetric about the origin, you will find that the function will be an odd function. So I have graphs of some functions here. We can look at the examples. See here, even function. This is symmetric about the y-axis. If you take the origin as O, the extremities on the x-axis as minus x and plus x. If you just roll over, close ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ತುದಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು around the y-axis, you find that they sit symmetrically. Similarly, for the odd function, you find that if you flip it around the origin, one will overlap completely over the other. Therefore, these are symmetric about the origin. This is one general fact that you can say about odd and even functions. In general, if a function f of x is defined as phi of x in the interval minus pi less than x less than pi, psi of x in the interval 0 less than x less than pi, if psi of minus x is equal to, if phi of minus x is equal to psi of x, you find that the function is even. If psi of minus x is equal to minus psi x, then f of x is said to be odd. I have taken a few examples here. You can easily see, you can easily make out. I need not explain this. F of x defined as minus x in the interval minus pi less than x less than 0, as plus x in the interval 0 less than x less than pi. I have worked out why the function is even. You can see that. Similarly, if we define a function f of x as equal to k plus 2x by pi in the interval minus pi less than x less than 0 and k minus 2x by pi in the interval 0 less than x less than pi, if we make phi of x by replacing minus x, we find that phi of minus x becomes equal to psi of x. Therefore, that function is also even. I got one example for a function that is odd. We can define a function f of x as equal to x minus pi by 2 in the interval minus pi less than x less than 0 and as x plus pi by 2 in the interval 0 less than x less than pi. We find that phi of minus x will become minus psi of x. I have worked out the whole thing. Therefore, the function is odd. In general, what happens is, if 2 pi is a period of a function, then if psi of x is also equal to psi of pi minus 2 pi minus x. So, if f of 2 pi minus x is equal to f of x, then the function turns out to be even. If f of 2 pi minus x is equal to minus x, the function usually turns out to be odd. One example I have taken here. We can see the working. F of x defined as pi minus x by 2 in the interval 0 to pi. Therefore, if you consider f of 2 pi minus x, it can be written as pi minus of 2 pi minus x by 2. So that becomes minus pi plus x by 2, which is minus of pi minus x by 2, which is f of x again. So because f of x is equal to, sorry, f of 2 pi minus x is equal to minus f of x, this function is odd. So this is another way of looking at even and odd functions. Now here I have an example wherein the function is going to be even by the very look of things. There is a square term here. So by the very look of things, this will be an even function. I have substituted and I have worked it out. You can see for yourselves. So this is the discussion on odd and even functions. Now we come to the orthogonality of sine and cosine functions. Given two vectors, we know that two vectors are perpendicular to each other or simply orthogonal if their dot product is 0. And the dot product is defined as mod A, mod B, cos theta, where A and B are the two vectors. The theta here is 90 if the vectors have to be orthogonal. In terms of pure physics, if you look at where you get these situations, you find two easy conditions where these situations arise. One is the body is going around a circle. Let us say we tie a stone to a thread and we twist it in a vertical circle or horizontal circle. The centripetal force acts along the radius of the circular path, and at any point on the circumference of the path, the direction of the stone will be perpendicular to the radius vector. So the velocity of the body or speed of the body and the direction of the force, they will be perpendicular to each other. Similarly, if you carry a load on your head and you are walking on a horizontal road, the force acts vertically downwards. You are moving at right angles to it. That is another example of two orthogonal vectors. You get three orthogonal vectors in the case of the Lorentz force. What happens in the Lorentz force? A charged particle enters a magnetic field, experiences force, and it is deviated. The direction of the velocity, direction of the magnetic field, and the direction of force are all perpendicular to one. In general, in mathematics, you can get a set of vectors which are mutually perpendicular to each other. Usually what happens, such vectors, mathematically you represent them as ui comma uj equal to 0 if I not equal to j. In dot product, what happens if I is equal to j? We get a square term. So ui comma ui is ui dot ui, which is ui square, which is a scalar. But if I is not equal to j, then what happens? If you take the rectangular components, to recall a dot b, how you do in terms of the component vectors, to find that ui comma uj will be 0 if I is not equal to j. So in a similar way, we can have functions also becoming orthogonal to one another. If f1 of x and f2 of x are two functions defined in the closed interval a comma b, they are said to be orthogonal if f1 comma f2 is given by integral a to b f1x f2x dx, and that turns out to be 0. We can take one example. Consider f1x to be sin x and f2 of x to be cos x. Both are periodic functions with a period 2 pi. So f1 comma f2 will now become integral minus pi to plus pi. You can also do 0 to 2 pi. Sin x cos x dx, which can be written as half sin 2x dx. Therefore, you get 1/4 of cos 2x to be with a negative sign, of course, to be evaluated between minus pi and plus pi. So cos of minus 2 pi is again cos 180, which is minus 1. Cos of 2 pi is plus 1. So minus 1 plus 1, it yields a 0. So sin x and cos x rather form an orthogonal pair. Similarly, we can consider the functions cos x and cos 2x. If you consider the functions cos x and cos 2x, integral minus pi to plus pi cos x and into cos 2x dx becomes 0. Why? For this cos x cos 2x, you can apply transformation formula as half of cos a plus b into plus cos a minus b. It turns out when you integrate, both become sine functions to be integrated between minus pi and plus pi, to be evaluated between minus pi and plus pi. When it's a sine function, whether you put minus pi or plus pi, the value turns out to be 0. So in general, integral minus pi to pi cos mx cos nx is equal to 0. Similarly, integral minus pi to plus pi sin mx sin nx dx is equal to 0, where m is not equal to n. If m is equal to n, then what happens? You get a sine square function which can be integrated. It will not give you 0. So, therefore, a set of functions such as 1, cos x, cos 2x, cos 3x, etc. are mutually orthogonal to one another in the interval minus pi to plus pi. Or in general, cos kx, where k greater than or equal to 0, are orthogonal in the interval minus pi to plus pi. Similarly, 1, sin x, sin 2x, etc. they are orthogonal set of functions in the interval minus pi to plus pi. But remember, if n equals m, this is what you get. You get either a cos square term or a sin square term, which can be integrated. So this is about the orthogonality of functions. Then we come to what is known as the Dirichlet condition. When we come to Dirichlet conditions, This is what tells you what are the conditions to be satisfied by a function for it to be represented as a Fourier series. These things we can consider in the class tomorrow. So for now, let me stop at this. I will stop sharing. In the next class, we'll consider Dirichlet conditions and go ahead to define what is a Fourier series, evaluate the Fourier constants, etc. Thanks for your listening. Bye for now. Let me close it here. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. And we meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock for the second session on Fourier series. Thank you.